What's up, y'all? Goofy Rexy here. Hope everybody is doing well. As you can see, we're going to be talking about the new Underworld team that's supposed to be coming to Marvel Strike Force here. We already knew about Mr. Negative. That's going to be the new character that's going to be a part of this team. And he's going to be joined by 4 characters who are going to be getting reworks here. So Taskmaster, Nobu, KingPin, and then also Green Goblin here. So we're going to be talking about this team here today and going through the kit reworks for those 4 characters. We may jump back to Mr. Negative's kit, which is the character kit that we received on Friday, or in the most recent blog post on Friday here. So we may go through that. A couple of things to talk about here first before we dive into the kits though. In regards to the Underworld team, what we got information is that they're supposed to be a top tier war offensive team. As you can see, they're going up against Heroes for Hire. They actually do really well in this matchup and do take them out fairly easily, I should say. In theory, they're supposed to be able to beat also Darkhold and Durmhold, or even the Red Guardian variant. Whether or not that is going to be true, the jury is definitely still going to be out on that one. There was some footage that was shared with us here, and initially they do not look that great up against Durmhold, but I do understand that this is something that's supposed to be fixed and changed. So therefore they are supposed to, in theory, be able to beat the Durmhold team. So you're gonna have to make a decision as to whether or not you're gonna want to invest into this team initially here. Other than that, if they don't work against Durmhold, they're primarily just gonna be maybe this Heroes for Hire counter, which if you've already built up your Dark Hunters team, that may not be as enticing to you to actually build out this team here. Mr. Negative also, even in this in the last blog that was shared, there was something that seemed to have been missing, and we did ask him about this. So as you can see here, in regards to Mr. Negative's traits, he has the Villain, City, Mystic, Controller, and an Underworld tag. My understanding that he's also supposed to have the Spider-Verse tag. I'm not sure if that's going to be this patch or future patches. I'm not quite sure exactly. But that was something that was mentioned. We did also ask the developers as well in regards to this team. Are they going to be useful outside of war, right? Or what's the incentive for players to build this year? And right now, there's really not much that they can do outside of war other than Mr. Negative, because he does have that ability block and the mind control with the special. But other than that, there's really not anything that's there. I would also like to share too, Mr. Negative's hero unique is going to be augmented infinite energy, which was previously before Tesseract energy as well. So we're going to go through the kits here and kind of talk about what they can do. There's some interesting things in the kits for sure. I mean, Mr. Negative summons are going to be good if they are able to work against Durmhold, because of course the reduction of speed bar each time each one of those summons die. There's that 10% speed bar reduction. There's also the ability block and trauma for Mr. Negative, so you're definitely going to want to use that against Morgan Le Fay. Green Goblin special, which we're going to go through a review here, is very strong. Can actually eliminate an enemy and stop an enemy from reviving if he actually kills them. And there's some few other interesting things on the other characters' kits as well. But diving into Green Goblin here, let's take a look at some of the improvements here. So stat improvements on the health, 15%, damage 40%, armor 20%, focus, which is the really big one, 60%, and then that resistance. So for his special ability here, what he does is that he gets some increased damage, and then he also gets a bonus attack now where he can bonus attack the target for 500% damage. Then some increased damage here, and this is the line that I was talking about. So characters killed by this attack cannot be revived. So similar to Elsa with her ultimate, whenever she kills an enemy with her ultimate, that character cannot revive. This attack is also unavoidable and it cannot be blocked. So that definitely is a good boost there. Ultimate ability, just some boosted damage, and instead here they're making it so that he can attack an additional 5 random targets for 330%. Before was 3 to 4 random targets. And then with this passive ability, this is kind of a long one. On any Spider-Verse or Underworld allies turn, remove 1 positive effect from 2 random enemies that have a positive effect but does not have safeguard, which is something to pay attention to here. There's another character that will give them safeguard. On war offense, if Mr. Negative is an ally, he'll gain 30 to 50% extra focus. On spawn, he'll apply defense down for 2 turns to the enemy with the most resistance. But then in war, if Mr. Negative is an ally on spawn, he'll apply defense down to all enemies. If an enemy is Mystic, apply defense down for 2 turns, and this attack cannot be resisted. So that's the big one here, and we saw that in the footage up against Durmhold, that they were actually able to land that defense. He was actually able to land that defense down. And then on War Offense, gain 30% armor for self, and then Underworld allies also gain an additional armor as well. And then Taskmaster here, some minimal stat boosts. Biggest one here being his damage at 30%, but some increases to focus, armor, and health as well. With his basic ability, they gave some more clarity on this. So they mentioned here that the change to the basic is actually just the improved damage. The second ability is more modernized, rewarding for clarity. So you can see that here. Transfer 3 positive effects, excluding taunt from the primary target. So if we jump back into game here, the way that his basic was listed before is that he attack for damage 250. Here 300%, of course, if it was T4'd. He steals 3 positive effects. So they're now clarifying that he transfers those positive effects, excluding taunt from the primary target. So just giving some more clarity there. Special, more damage. This attack gains 300% focus to make sure that he can land that stun that's there. Your rebound change for more damage here. And then if this character has 3 or more Underworld allies, this attack cannot be counterattacked. Okay, so that's good. Ultimate, don't see any changes. Well, for ultimate, sorry, there's some minor changes here. So 300% damage, not minor. Apply blind and now also apply heal block to 2 random secondary targets. But in War, now they're changing this to where he's going to be able to apply blind and heal block to all enemies. So prior to this, he would only do, I think, to like maybe 2 characters. Now he's going to be able to apply blind to all enemies, which could be definitely powerful, of course, going up against Stormhold if they do work correctly the way they're supposed to. And the bonus attack for 200% piercing. If this character has 3 or more non-summon Underworld allies, gain 500% extra focus for this ability. And then passive, they made a bunch of changes here just to add and include Underworld. So he'll gain an assist now on each mercenary or Underworld ally. 20% chance increase to counterattack for Underworld allies. More damage here. Adding Underworld allies get more damage as well in War. Speed bar fill for mercenary villain and also Underworld allies here. Unturned, if this character has 2 or more mercenary allies, he apply taunt to the enemy with the highest damage. And then gain 25% damage for self and all Underworld allies. So some boosts that are there. And then KingPin, so he got some pretty good stat boosts here, which is warranted, right? It's been a while since he's ever really gotten a stat boost, so it's good that he's getting one. Increase to his base damage stat, armor stat here, which is big because he had 0 armor, right? So now, in terms of characters that have 0 armor in the game, they've made some changes here to Scarlet Witch. Now KingPin has some armor here as well. And of course, now the only character that doesn't have armor in the game is Swarm. So they're probably going to be changing that at some point in time in the future. But yeah, and increase to his speed because he was really slow before. He still kind of is slow, but he's not as slow as he was before. So looking at his basic here for KingPin, if this character has 3 or more non-summon Underworld allies, he'll gain 15% crit chance, plus 15% crit chance for each non-summon Underworld ally. So that could be good damage there. And then uncrit, he'll barrier himself for 10% of this character's max health, which is going to be interesting in terms of barrier when we go further down into his kit. Special ability here on War Offense, he'll apply safeguard to self and all Underworld allies. His ultimate here, now he'll also be able to apply offense up, not just defense up to self and all allies. So offense up to self and all allies. And then he'll gain an assist from a random Underworld ally. And then he'll gain an additional assist from a random ally as well. And with this passive, this is really interesting. So unspawn now, he's going to be able to summon a bodyguard, which he previously before he had to do that with another ability. Now he's going to be able to summon this bodyguard now just unspawn and then gain 2 taunt plus 2 death proof whenever they are summoned. And then on this character, no, does he gain that? Sorry, unspawn, summon a bodyguard. Bodyguards gain taunt and 2 death proof when summoned. And on his characters or any villain ally's turn, he has a chance to apply assist now to self or a random ally. So Skirmisher Striker may be pretty interesting with some of these characters, right? And at the end of this character's turn, if this character has barrier, apply speed up and offense up to all summoned Underworld allies. So they're trying to like incentivize you here to kind of put Fortifier on him, right? Because if he has a barrier, then he'll always speed them up. That means he's going to speed up his summons, but he's also going to speed up as well Mr. Negative's summons. So interesting mechanic they're adding here. On attack, fill this character and all summon allies speed bars by 20%. So they're kind of baking in here, even though he's a little bit slower. ways for him to be able to speed up so that he can take more turns. Gain 60% focus. Underworld allies gain 60% focus, and then gain 60% resistance. Underworld allies gain 60% resistance. And then down here, this is interesting. Mercenary Bodyguard, they gave some stat boosts to those characters there. And then Nobu, lastly, we're going to talk about Nobu's kit here. Increase health 60%, armor 51, damage 30%, focus, of course, and resistance also got a boost. Basic here, more damage. He's also going to be able to apply bleed now with this basic. He'll apply stealth to self and the most injured ally. He'll get an assist from a random hand or underworld ally. And then for special ability, summon 3 hand ninjas with offense up and regeneration. So that's an addition there. Clear all negative effects from self. And then the possible summons are Handblade Master and Archer. I kind of forget who that was. It was just 3 hand ninjas before, right? So now there's actual characters. So Handblade Master and Archer, actual minions that we are familiar with in the game. And then with his ultimate, he'll apply 2 counter to self and all allies, apply 2 deflect to self and all allies. Unwar offense, apply 2 death proof to self and all allies here. And then passive, now they're adding underworld allies will gain a 10% chance to revive with the 20% of max health. And then on war offense, they're adding in this here, if this character has any hand or any underworld ally has countered, those characters gain 50% crit chance. So this could be interesting and enticing to throw Raider on some of these characters. If this character or any hand ally or underworld ally has stealth, those characters gain 20% crit damage. So once again, gonna be interesting to try to figure out these ISOs right now with this team. And then they also boosted stats as well for Handblade Master and an Archer as well. And then down below, they did kind of give us a little bit of a preview here in regards to Rogue and what she's going to be getting in terms of ability adjustments here. So for her ability, Mega Punch, which I'm trying to remember if that's her, I think that's her ultimate, if I'm not mistaken, right? For her ultimate, the boost that she'll get. So once you do the saga and you get the ability materials to upgrade this, once you get it to level 8, this is what it's going to be able to do. If this character has 1 or more horsemen or apocalypse allies, she's always going to bonus attack for 300% damage, plus gain 25% crit chance for each horseman or apocalypse ally. And then her passive ability here, once you can upgrade that to level 6, then apocalypse and all horsemen allies gain 25% damage. And then clones of this character and all horsemen and apocalypse allies have reduced max health and speed compared to the standard clones, and they cannot reach maximum ability levels. So that's pretty much it, guys, in terms of the Underworld team here and some additional information on Rogue. I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts on this Underworld rework right now? To me personally, I'm kind of underwhelmed with the team. Like, there's some interesting stuff that's here, but I'm not like overly enthused about building them up. I think that they're probably going to be mostly a skippable team for me. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave it, right? I mean, you kind of make your assessment on what your thoughts are where that's concerned. But yeah, if they cannot be Dormhold, based on that footage, it didn't look good. If they cannot be Dormhold, if there's really no reason, an added incentive for really anybody to build them other than you just like the characters, right? And that's pretty much essentially it. And so yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Appreciate you watching the video. Don't forget to hit that like button or subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit the notification bell, all that stuff, guys, definitely does help on the YouTube algorithm. Leave a comment as well. That helps to push the video out to make sure that it can reach more viewers too, guys. So definitely would appreciate any help where that is concerned. Like, comment, that does that for me. All right, guys, listen, appreciate you. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe.